Alright guys, we got a little change of pace today. Today, we're at work. And I'm going to introduce you guys to a new product for the LS market. You guys have probably seen it. It is the Nexus Rebel LS. And it's really slick. It's got a really cool wizard, which I'm going to take you through later. But today, we're going to introduce you to a good buddy of mine. And I want you guys to go follow him and give him a bunch of crap and say, why is it taking so long to get this car driving? This is Jackson Mead. Come here, Jackson. Say hi.
Hey guys, what's up?
All right, so Jackson, he's a hell of a driver. If you've followed along my Instagram and stuff, he's a BMW nerd, and he's got a E46, and he's got actually two E46s, right? So you've got a sedan.
I have a sedan, and then I have the coupe. The coupe is getting less swapped right now. The sedan is like a daily, but it's like kind of made it more into a drift car than I should have.
Yeah,
not a fan of that,
because he's a child. He can't help it.
We
all have a problem. He has a sickness worse than I do. So behind me is his already LS swapped BMW. This is a 135 that has a single turbo LS1 with Gen 4 guts. This thing is on a Rebel, and it is basically a pro spec car, right?
Yeah. Besides, so it has a TVD6 still, and it has an 8.8. So nothing too crazy yet in that aspect. So you still like drive on the street, no whiny sounds, but we're gonna get to that point.
That's untrue. He's not going to be driving it like that. This is a race car, full cage, containment seat, rear mount radiator. Now,
you still drive on the street.
It will be drivable and be like super easy to cruise at places like around the pits and stuff like that. But this is a full blown race car. So he has his fun cars that are not full blown race cars, but this car is his full blown race car. This thing is a committed, proper drift car. I mean, it is a dedicated drift car. So wise fab front and rear. Like I said, the LS with the turbo should make, God, if it doesn't make 700 horsepower today, I'll be upset on E. It's going to be really easy. Josh here just walked out here, and he's going to be my co-host today. Jackson's going to be in and out of the video, but Josh is going to be my co-host today because, well, partner in crime.
What's up?
Yeah. So Josh and I have been really focusing on trying to get this Rebel out to the world. He's actually going to be the one to take you through the wizard, and
happy to assist.
Yeah, well, you have to. It's on camera. You have to do it now.
All right, committed.
So basically, Josh and I have been really spearheading the America side of trying to figure out who needs this thing, who's going to be getting a Rebel. The world wants them bad, and I'll tell you what. There's a reason. I'm going to flip you guys around. We're going to show you Jackson's car, and I'm going to tell you all of my experience with the Rebel so far on our shop Camaro. So let's start off with Jackson's car. It doesn't have the front end on it, which is fine. It's just, we've been putting this thing together again, so we've been re-putting it together. This is single precision
7675, yeah.
So 7675 cast wheel precision. Log manifolds, it's going to be just super efficient, super responsive. As you can see, the intercooler is here. You can see all the wise fab, which is really nice stuff. This thing steers like forget it. Full cage, done down at Rise Fab. They did a majority of the work on this car. It looks really nice. You can see the fenders. Big fenders, which is actually set up to be basically like the whole rear end, so he can do stupid wall tap stuff without destroying the back of the car. Rear mount radiator. It's a simple and effective setup. So you guys can see this thing. It's going to be hitting the dyno. You see the IC7. But let's talk about this Camaro. You guys see RS. If you guys know anything about Camaros. It's a good car.
It's a good car.
It's a good car. All right, so this.
Clip in the videos of us.
Yes, yeah. So we picked the car up. I'll throw those in here as well. But this is a 5.3 aluminum Gen 3 LS. So this would be out of a Trailblazer or the weird Bravia, Olds Bravia, if you guys remember those things. Basically a Trailblazer, but it's an aluminum Gen 3, which is most of the Gen 4s were the aluminum motors for trucks. This one has a small cam in it, but this car right here was my introduction to the Rebel, because this is our shop car. It's got a bunch of great parts on it. I've gone through it. Vibrant fuel system. It's got a BTR Trinity intake, which way overkill. I think the thing's actually worth more than the car. But Fuel Lab regulator and Fuel Lab fuel pump and stuff like that. So just stuff that I knew worked. I got a big Summit dual pass radiator. That's all in there. This is a 4L60 car. So the Rebel will have automatic transmission control soon. But this one does have it. It's got a 4L60. It's not happy. We've made a little more power and now it's slipping. But we do have an extra transmission for it, so that's good. That's going to be going in here this week as well. This Rebel kind of changed the way that I look at LS swaps, okay? So you see these things. You see LSs everywhere. I'm not a huge fan of them. You've seen Ryan's car on the channel. His car works great, don't get me wrong, but you guys know I'm a Jay-Z guy through and through. I like the sound, the way they make power, the way they deliver power, but this Rebel makes it so easy. It's an all-in-one kit. You got the ECU, you got the wiring harness, a wideband, the air temp sensor, literally everything in a box to fire up your LS and your swapped vehicle. Next is the Wizard. The Wizard, Josh is going to take you through it here, and you answer a few questions, and you turn the key, and it starts, and not just runs, but drives. It is that close. Now, this Camaro has never seen the dyno, and I have been all over the place. I picked up that intake manifold. BTR is an hour and a half away, one way. I drove it there, picked the thing up, drove it back. Never seen the dyno. So if that gives you guys an idea, if you guys are scared of standalone, this is the product for you for your LS swaps. So I'm going to stop rambling. Josh is going to show you the Wizard here. And then we're going to jump on the dyno with Jackson's car. We need to get it done. He had a little issue. Guys, before you bring a car to the dyno, make sure it's full of fluids. All fluids, not just coolant. Make sure the transmission's full, especially in your brand new T56. Or your freshly gear and spool swapped 8.8 IRS. Yeah. Basically, the pinion bearing locked up on his diff in this car, and that was an awful smell and a very odd thing. Took the plug out, and there was not a drop of fluid in it. None.
Metal everywhere.
So it's got a welded diff in it now. I did that. If you guys watched the previous video, you know how to do a welded IRS 8.8 now. Get ready to be dirty. But yeah, let's get this car on the dyno. Josh is going to show you guys the Wizard, go through that, show you guys how easy this really is. All right, guys, so this is Josh Redden. He's our, well, actually, you tell him what you are.
I don't even know how to answer that question right now.
All right, well, his technical title is
Sales Manager for the U.S. Cover a little bit of everything at the moment, but that's neither here nor there. Today, we are going to talk about the Rebel Wizard. I want to walk you through real quick what this looks like and how it works. A lot of people don't know that this is already out there and in the wild. You can pull up your NSP software if it's updated and start playing with this today. It's really cool, and it's honestly my favorite part about the whole Rebel thing is this Wizard and what this thing is going to become for Haltech in the future. So come check this thing out. Okay, so NSP, most people are familiar with this if you've used Haltech. If you haven't, you'll get familiar at some point. But the beautiful part of this is that right now you can go in here, go in to start a new map, and go down to Nexus Rebel LS ECU. The first time you connect to your LS ECU, your Rebel ECU, you will be greeted with this screen. And what this is a wizard to walk you through setting up your new LS-powered vehicle with a Rebel ECU. So we're going to go through this real quick. I'll show you how it works and how easy this is to get your car started. So I'm just going to call this one Test You can put a description in here about the car, any specific modifications, whatever you want to there. That's really just for your personal documentation. So the second thing it greets you with after you name the car and the project is what type of LS engine are you using. So there's a long list of all the different variations, aluminum, iron, different compression ratios, different engine capacities, Gen 3, Gen 4, and a bunch of different year, make, models for what these engines came out of. So find what you're starting with and go from there. Just for this time, I'm going to pretend that we're doing a Gen 3 9.5 compression ratio iron block. This will pre-populate your engine capacity and your compression ratio. If you've modified these, you can go ahead and change that here. Hit next. Next it's going to ask you about your camshaft profile. Usually this will default to whatever is available to the engine, and some of these settings that you'll see in here later will. But here we have stock truck, stock car, mild camshaft, race camshaft. We're going to pretend we have like a sloppy stage 2 mild camshaft, something along those lines. And it gives you some range on the duration and lift stuff. So pick what is most applicable to your application, and it'll get you in the ballpark. So next. Okay, here we choose the air system. Is it naturally aspirated? Is it supercharged? Is it turbocharged? For this case, we're going to pretend that it's naturally aspirated. It's going to default to the LS9 throttle options because that's the engine package that we chose, but if you want the full list, you can remove that and you get more options here for GM drive-by-wire, 90 millimeters, 87 millimeters, what have you. So we're going to pretend that we're using an 87 millimeter drive-by-wire setup on a Gen 3 motor. Okay, so now we're talking about the map sensor. You have options for built-in stuff, of course, just like everything else we've discussed so far. We have options for Haltech map sensors built into this. There is also a map sensor built into the ECU. If you just want to run a vacuum line over to the ECU itself, we can switch this over to onboard pressure sensor. We don't have to pick anything because the ECU knows what it has built in. Next, we go into the fuel system. If you want to turn on a fuel pressure sensor, you can turn that on here. If you don't, and you know what the pressure is, you can set that here, tell it whether it's constant or whether it's map reference if you're using a fuel pressure regulator. If we're going to do a constant for this test, 58 pounds of pressure base. And then we go down here to tell it the injectors. Now, again, defaults to, I said LS9 earlier, it's L59, I can't read. L59 injectors, but we can, again, remove that pre-default there, and you get a very long list of supported injector types that we have built in for you, so you don't have to worry about populating all that data for dwell times and dead times and flow rates and all that good stuff. So all of that's built in here.
I mean, there's aftermarket and there's stock and all kinds of stuff, it looks like.
Yeah, and if you know like the specs of what you have, but you don't really know the part number or the name, you can type in certain things. Like I know that I'm using an ID injector. I can search that and it will filter down to ID injectors. So right there, we're going to play with some 1050Xs. Next is your ignition system. Same situation. It's going to default to truck coils because that's what came on the L59s. We can turn that off and say here's all the options at the moment. These will get populated as more things get predefined and built into the system for you. Let's just say we're using the truck coils. And over here in the description, this is across all of the Wizard. There are several places where you can kind of make sure that you're selecting the right part with factory part numbers. And all this information is searchable. So if you type into the thing, I'm using a 104577730. I missed a 4. Boom. There's the option that you need to choose. So we hit complete. And it builds you a custom map based on everything that you've put into it. Your base table will change, your target lambda table will change, your ignition table will all be tailored around the camshaft profile, the compression ratio, and the injector data that you've selected. Now, the beautiful thing about this is that at this point, normally you would have to go in and set your trigger information, tell it what the TDC offset angle is and stuff like that. But being that this ECU is only for LS engines, there's very few options. And when you crank this thing for the first time, the ECU will actually auto-detect what trigger pattern you're using. So whether you're using a 58X, a 24X, or a combination of the two because you have some Frankenstein engine, it will detect what the trigger pattern needs to be the first time you crank it. That second time you crank it, she's ready to run, and she will run.
All right, so you guys just got a rundown of the Wizard. Now, the cool thing that's also coming is the Haltech Connect app. You will be able to use your phone, a tablet, Android, iPhone, whatever, to download the app and actually use it on your Nexus ECUs, not just the Rebel. However, the Rebel, you'll be able to set up your car and go through the Wizard directly from the app. So you don't even need a computer. I recommend having a computer. I recommend it. But once the app is fully done and available, you'll be able to actually fire the car up using the app and drive it. Not just start it, but drive it. All right, so like, think about that for a minute. We're going to get to tuning Jackson's car now. You guys get to see the Wizard. I wanted you guys to meet Josh. He's going to be a more regular on the channel from now on. We need to look at his Evo. It's talk about Frankenstein stuff, but let's get to tuning Jackson's car. It's going to be great.
There was once a day that I would pray for you and go and misbehave. Damn, what a hell of a view. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date, you're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight, don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase, so catch me if I fall.
All right, so we've got 75% ethanol now?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah, so 75% ethanol. Put some more timing into it. Then started playing with the boost. Ended up around 10 pounds.
Yeah. 10
Yeah,
pounds.
right. 9-10 pounds. And it made 669. And
Magic number.
it is. It's the magic number, guys. Realizing that he's probably going to need a bigger alternator, started dropping off fuel pressure as soon as the cooling fans kicked on. So it was dropping voltage as the load came up, and it's got a stock like F-body alternator on it, so they've got way more overhead. It's got electric power steering on this car too, so that was not active. They'll definitely need a better alternator for that. Jackson has been asking for pops and bangs, so I think Rick's gonna beep bop boop and put some spice in it and see if we can make it shoot some flames.
You're good.
All right, Jackson, was that better? Pops and bangs?
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, so we got the pops and bangs there, that's for sure. Timing's happy, the fueling seems to be happy. We're gonna leave it there. Jackson needs to drive it a little bit to make sure that all the mid-light load drivability stuff is there, and just sanity check. So he's gonna do that here in a minute. I've got a meeting, so I'm gonna go hit that, and I'll check back in with you after that. Oh, he's a smiling boy.
Baby. She rips.
That's right, buddy. All right, what do you think?
It's a blast. It's a blast.
Rowdy, right?
Yeah. A lot of grip. A lot of grip.
It is a lot of grip.
I'm definitely ready to drop something like this instead of my 200 horsepower basic cars.
It's over there. That
Hey,
one.
I have another one too. The other one was a little bit more exciting. That one's just a daily.
Well,
But this thing's sweet, man.
sick.
Haltech is the way to go, for sure.
All right, well, I think that we can call that a wrap.
Yeah.
This car's spicy,
Yeah.
did really good. Really impressed with the Rebel considering it's our entry-level ECU on a Pro 2 or Pro Spec style car. So if that tells you guys the capabilities of this new ECU that we've got, Jackson, I know you're happy to just drive the thing.
very excited, yeah.
Been a long time coming for him. Hope you guys enjoyed learning about the Rebel, watching this car rip. Just dyno, fire, all the things. You guys stay tuned. We're going to get a lot more content coming in. See you guys soon. Bye.